Hi friends. A lot has changed. Also, if an ad starts playing, it's muted. Don't worry about it. Also, you know how much I hate that you have to go out of your way to pick one that doesn't have AI? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But hi guys, welcome. A lot has changed. A lot of updates. I got my big bookshelves. This is where my desk used to be behind me when I filmed. I used to film in front of it like this. Got my big bookshelves. Very stoked about that. I cut my hair, I think. I don't think you guys have seen me with my shorter hair yet. Cut my hair. I dyed it purple last night. It's not very purple because I didn't want to bleach it, but I think it looks cute. I think it looks fine. I hit my reading goal. I hit 50 books. Very proud of that. Very excited about that. I want to chat with you guys about the 50 books I read this year. Most of them were off my physical TBR. Very proud of that. Also, I only technically broke my book buying ban like once this year. Other than that, I kept with my book buying ban. Isn't that so exciting? I will say though, it's almost as if I didn't keep up with my book buying ban though, only because I got like 20 books for Christmas and my birthday. People like me, people know what kind of books I want. People know what to get me, okay? Not my fault. Also, do you guys like my sweatshirt? I exclusively like live in Fundy Fridays merch. I'm trying to get StoryGraphs to load. Come on, StoryGraphs. We got people to be, places to see. I didn't even do that on purpose. All right, so yeah, we're gonna talk about the 50 books that I read this year in 2025. So starting off, I kicked off the year reading the second book in the Unwind series. I read Unholy by Neil Shusterman. And I did give this one I gave this a 4.5. Glad I looked at that. I would have said I gave this a 5. So I gave this a 4.5. This is the second book, like I said, in the Unwind series. The Unwind series follows a group of 3 kids in a universe in which, or like our world, in which parents between the ages of 13 and 17 can send their children to be unwound if they are problematic or if the parents can't take care of them. In which is where their body gets stripped apart for parts and donated for different types of like organ transplants. Why is it when I started talking and airplanes flying by? And the first book takes place between the perspective of a boy named Connor, whose parents set to unwound him, a girl named Rissa, who lived in a state home, kind of like more like an orphanage, and a boy named Lev, who was a tithe, a religious tithe, because his family had him specifically to offer to God and to unwind for God. So this is the second book in that series. You will see that I finished the entire series this year, so I'm not going to go into detail every time, but this book was a 4.5. This was a great place to start off the year, and a very fun thing happens at the end of the year, and you will see. So that's book number 1. Should I like set these up here? You guys aren't here to tell me. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So next I read Because Fat Girl by Laura Marie Fleming. I gave this a 3.5. The audiobook was really good. The audiobook was read by the author. The author is also from San Diego, so that's really fun. It follows this girl who works as a stylist in the entertainment industry, and she ends up having a crush on, falling in love with the best friend of this like really snobby celebrity. And it deals with the battles of like fat phobia and like almost like the downplaying and like the down talking and of like fat people in the industry, and how like we're always going to end up comparing ourselves to each other because other people set us up to compare ourselves. And then it talks about, you know, how worthy of love you are no matter your body size, and it's really good, and I really liked it. So it was a good first audiobook of the year. Editing Tyler here. The setting powder does not go away on my sleeve. It doesn't go away. I thought it would. It doesn't go away, just so you know. So enjoy the setting powder, because it ain't going nowhere. Third book. I read the next book in the Unwind series. This is the third book, and I ended up giving this one also a 4.5. So I read the third book of this. Next, I read Tiny Dreadfuls Horror Oddities and Tales of the Dark by S. Faxon. This is also a local San Diego author, and this is a short anthology story collection of different scary things. I did a reading vlog with this one in it. where I read a different story every day of the reading vlog. I give this a 4.5. I had a lot of fun with this. A lot of it was scarier than I thought it was gonna be, because it takes a lot for things to creep me out, but I think because I knew where all of this was taking place, because a lot of it took place in San Diego, I had a lot of fun with this, and it was a perfect little bite-sized story collection, so 4.5, I liked this one. So next, I read First Light Wins by Ashley Elston. This book had been hyped up for me for a while, and I gave it a 3.5, but I do think I want to change it to a 3. This was fine. It wasn't great. I think it was a little predictable. I think it was fun. It follows this lady who is in a relationship with this man, and you slowly find out that she's in like a witness protection program kind of thing, but like with spies. So she's there to extract information on him. And so she's not giving him her real identity. She's not giving him anything, but she really feels like she's actually falling for him. And then one day they're at a dinner party, and at that dinner party, somebody shows up that throws a wrench in the plan, and she's forced to reckon with the fact that maybe she's not as safe in this identity as she thinks she is. So that's the premise of this book. I think I'm gonna change my rating to a 3, but yeah, that's this book. Colby's weird ring holder kind of looked like a nipple. I'm gonna fix that. Oh no, now I'm gonna be different. Now it's gonna be at a different angle. Sorry, friends. That's close enough. I'm gonna finish through February before I get up again. That fair? Next, I read the 4th book. I read Undivided, which is the last actual book in the series. I thought I'd give this a 5. The first and the last book in this, like the actual first book and the actual last book, I thought were so good. This was such a good way to end the series. I cried so many times. I cried so many times at the end of this book. This is a 5. This was such a good way to start February. The next book that I listened to was House at the Bottom of the Lake by Josh Malerman. This was so good. I was so claustrophobic the whole time, and I have such a fear of deep water, and it's just, So House at the Bottom of the Lake follows these 2 young teenagers who are on a date rowing out to this secret lake on the back of the very popular lake in their town. And while they're out there, they notice that at the bottom of the lake under them, there is just a complete full house. And one day they decide that they're going to dive in and look in the house. Oh, sorry, my sister called me. So if the angle's off again, fine, sorry. I think it's really spooky. I think it's really atmospheric. I think it's really good. Sorry, I'm trying to get back into filming now. Colby calling really threw a wrench in this. I didn't really end that properly. I gave it a 5. It was a great book. It was a 5-star. And I don't think I said that in here, so 5 stars. Great book. Definitely recommend. Next. I read Divergent, which I read the whole series of this year, except 4. I don't think I'm going to read 4. But I did read Divergent, which is about the world in the future, of us being the like there's one little chunk that are like the last people in existence after this big war that they talk about, where you're split into different factions and you can only be one thing, and it's like, it wanted to be Hunger Games really bad. If you haven't heard of Divergent, I can't explain this to you. I gave it a 3.5. It was fine, it was fun, it was fast. And I did read the whole series, so I don't know what that says about it, but I read the whole series. Total different experience. I read Brother by Anaya Alborn, and this was a wild experience. This was a wild ride. It still was one of my favorite. I like how I only had one tab. Let's see, what does it say? Is it a spoiler? Maybe someday, after he'd heard one cry too many, he'd open his mouth to speak, but rather than words, screams would pour out instead. Okay. Anyways, so this is about a boy named Michael. I only remember that because I just read it in the book. And his family has a specific hobby that comes from, or that is murdering women in the woods. That's his family's hobby. And so he's not allowed to have friends. He's not allowed to bring people back home. He's also like kind of the black sheep of the family. His parents don't like him. He had to kill people at a very young age. All of the tropes set up, and then him and his brother one day go into town and he falls in love with this girl, and it's him trying to finally make a friend and him trying to finally have a connection but not being able to because of his family. Maybe can't talk too much about it without spoiling it, but this is Brother by Anaya Allborn, and I gave this a 4. This was a great book. This was a fun time, and also the cover is beautiful. I love it. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This was a 5-star read. This book was so good. It was one of those that I read with the audiobook and then I instantly got the movie after and watched the movie. I will say the book was better. The movie was fine. The book was better. It took out my favorite character. My favorite character in the book wasn't in the movie. I was like, why are we doing this? Why did you take him away from me? So this book follows a young girl named Star and her friend Khalil, who are both black, and they're coming home from a party one night, and Khalil gets pulled over by the police and he gets killed in front of her. He gets shot in front of her for no reason. And this book follows the aftermath of what that does to a community. And I think it's YA, but I think it is a very necessary read for a lot of people. It feels like it's more necessary for people who haven't put in the work. Like, this is a good stepping stone for people who haven't put in a lot of work in undoing their internal like racist biases, but it is also a good read for people who have done the work as a reminder for why we've done what we do. So I think that this is a phenomenal book. The movie is good too if you'd like to watch the movie, but read the book first. Take your meds if you need to. So next, kind of in the same vein as The Hate You Give, the next book I read was I'm Not Dying With You Tonight by Kimberly Jones and Gilly Siegel. I'm on Discord with somebody right now. Oh, yeah, update. I'm in a relationship now. I'm promise ringed and everything. Isn't that a crazy update? But yeah, so next I read I'm Not Dying With You Tonight by Gilly Siegel and Kimberly Jones. This book follows two girls who are at school together at a football game when a shooting happens, and it shows the perspective between how, like, the lens through white eyes and the lens through a person of color's eyes, specifically in the story a black girl's eyes. And I will say this was good and the conversations in this book were important, but I remember feeling that it was almost a little too much to comfort the white readers as opposed to telling the story in an authentic way. So I did give it a 4. I did like it. It wasn't a bad book by any means, but it did feel like it was trying to comfort white people over telling an authentic story. So that's why that one got a 4. Next, this was such a wild pull. I'm Not Dying With You the next couple books. No, go ahead. I'm not talking. It's not even trash day. What are we doing? The next couple books were from my mom and Colby picked my TBR. So, but yeah. So then I read My Lucky Life In and Out of Show Business by Dick Van Dyke. I did a whole reading vlog on this one. It made me cry. I think it made me cry because he read it. But this was the next book I read. I gave it a 5 stars. It's a memoir about his life in show business. So I can't really talk about it. It's Dick Van Dyke's life. It's a good book. I would recommend, if you like him even a little bit, to listen to the audiobook of it. I read Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This book is everything that I want in a book. I gave this a 5 stars. This was one of my favorites of the year. This is everything that I want. It's spooky. It's atmospheric. There's rot. There's mushrooms. There's dampness. There's just, there's family drama. Oh, shit. 1 second, friends. I fully forgot that I had a psychiatry appointment. Give me 1 moment. I will be right back. Okay, psychiatry is over. Forgot that I had that. Okay. Mexican Gothic, 5 out of 5. Loved it. That's where I left off. It was so good. It follows, I didn't talk about it. So it follows this girl who gets a letter from her sister that she needs help at her new husband's house. and she has to go help take care of her sister because she's getting sick at this weird mysterious mansion of these like millionaires. It's crazy. It's so good, right? That's what happens. Cousin, not sister, her cousin. That's what I got wrong. But anyways, it's great. It's phenomenal. It's spooky. When it says gothic, it means that it is such a claustrophobic gothic haunted house story. All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. I gave this a 3.5. I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember. I remember it having to do with a baby. Yes. Okay. So the main character, her name is Isabel. There's a hair in my mouth. That was gross. Main character Isabel, her toddler Mason gets taken out of his crib in the middle of the night while her husband and her were asleep in the next room. The taking of the son definitely led to a strain on her and her husband's relationship, so they end up splitting up. She agrees to go on a podcast. Yeah, she agrees to go on a podcast. She hasn't slept like at all, so like it has to do with, she's just trying to solve the crime of her son. Can you see that I wasn't super as passionate about this one? I remember it being okay. I liked the audiobook, I think, more than I liked the story itself. It was a 3.5. It was fine. She just wants to find her son. And hey, she's valid for it. Next. The winner of the year. I read Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. Okay. This book I know is not for everybody, but God, it was for me. 5 stars. 5 stars. Sorry, I got distracted. 5 stars across the fucking board. So this book follows a man called the Thin One. We never figure out his name, right? The Thin Kid. We never find out his name. He was in a cursed, like, cult classic horror movie that never made the light of day because there's so many things happened on set. And so now they're trying to revive the script, and he has been asked to be on the cast of the new movie and be a part of it. And it is, I can't explain what happens because all of it you need to experience for yourself. But that is the gist of this book, and it is so scary. And please, even if you're not an audiobook listener, if you can, read along with this, because part of the book is scripts, like, you know, like exit suburban side street evening, and there's like lines on it. If you listen to the audiobook, they do table reads. Different people read these parts and you can hear the pages turning, and there's like laugh track. Oh my God, please listen to the audiobook. Please listen to the audiobook of this if you have the book, especially during the scenes with the scripts. This book was so good. Oh, I gave this book a 2.5. I read The Bookstore Sisters. It was a Kindle book. I read it because I needed a book about books, and it was short. It was fine. My big thing, I don't remember the premise of the book at all. I remember a girl going to an island to try to save a bookstore. Why the fuck was she was a dog walker, and she went to walk somebody's dog and just took this dog to the island, and then the person was okay with her just like rehoming this dog to herself and kidnapping it. Hey ma'am, you should take better care of your dog. That was the only thing I remember from that book, and being pissed off that why the lady just let this stranger take her dog. 2.5, probably a 2. I read Final Girls by Riley Sager. I gave this 3.5. I remember this was my first introduction into Riley Sager. Maybe it was a bad place to start. So this follows a girl who was the only survivor of a mass murder, and she gets paired up with these other 2 survivors of other killing sprees, and they think they're being targeted thanks to her Xanax prescription. Oh my God, I remember thinking about, if I took a shot every time this fucker wrote the word Xanax, I would have to go to the hospital several times over. Oh my God. My psychiatrist's office just called me again. She's friends with a cop in this. Why are they always friends with cops? Feels like, again, I think I remember saying something along the lines like, it feels like an airplane read. Like, you can kind of set it down, pick it back up, be on vacation, read it, and it'd be fine. There's better Riley Sagers out there. Speaking of better Riley Sagers, obviously this was gonna be a 5, and if it's not a 5 on your list, you're just wrong and you hate whimsy and fun. It was Sunrise on the Reaping. Duh! Duh! You expect me to not give this a 5? So this is in the Hunger Games universe if you live under a rock. This is one of the most recent books in the Hunger Games series, and this takes place during Haymitch's games. Which, if you've only seen the movies, Haymitch is Woody Harrelson's character in the movies. And this takes place during his games. And it's amazing. And it's great. And the movie already finished wrapping. And I'm gonna cry. Thank you. This was a 3. I read 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. I could see me liking this a lot more when I was younger. I think this was the year that I realized that I'm just like not a really big thriller person, or I need to find more thrillers that are for me. So this follows a group of 6 friends driving in a van, like an RV, to go on a vacation somewhere, and their tires pop and they're getting hunted basically by these people is the premise. And as you can tell by here, only 5 of them are going to survive. I think there's like a ransom note that says like, you must kill one of you, something like that. It was fine. I know that this is probably for somebody. I just don't think it was really for me, but I did enjoy it. And I remember I keep wanting to say that they went to like a theme park, but I don't think that's the case. I remember listening to the audiobook for this while playing Roller Coaster Tycoon a lot, like a lot. So I think that's why I think they're going to a theme park. Anyways, this was good. It was fun. It was fine. It did its job. It was a serviceable book. It was fine. No, it wasn't fine. Was this 4.5 of a book called The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. This is about a woman who... Oh my god, am I crooked? Am I tilting? Oh my god. Is that better? This video... If you've watched this far in, you deserve a prize. What is that? This follows a woman named Evelyn, and she has made clones of herself, and one of her clones, Martine, is now sleeping with her husband. And so her husband's having an affair with her clone, but now he's dead, and they both have to figure out why he died and how he died, I think was part of the mystery. Anyways, clones. Also, crazy for you to have a perfect wife so perfect that you would sleep with her twice, but instead of just sleeping with your wife, you sleep with her clone. Crazy. This was a 4.5. I love Sarah Gailey. I love them so much. Next, boy oh boy, 5 stars. I did it. I finally read it. Not only did I read this, I read the whole series. And for Christmas I got Call Down the Hawk, which is the first book in the spin-off series. It was great. It's a great book. It's a great series. So this follows the life of a girl named Blue Sargent. She is the daughter of a psychic and in a house full of psychics. I don't want to give anything away because I went into it like knowing nothing. The back of this makes it feel like it's a love story, but it's so there's a quest that Gansey is on, and he is going to do anything to figure out this quest, to find this adventure, to do all of these things that he has set his mind to do. And Blue has told herself that she would not get mixed up with any of the Raven boys, which are students of this really like fancy school in her area. And she told herself that she would never get mixed up with any of the Raven boys. And now her and Gansey's path are put on to each other's path. And they're crossing paths, and they both need each other. And it is just an epic tale of like magic and history and whimsy and just like found family, and it's so good. It's so good. Next, I gave Aragon by Christopher Paolini a 5. Now I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember why I gave this book a 5. It must have been good in the moment. This book follows a young boy named Aragon, and he ends up with the egg of the last dragon. This girl right here, her name is Saphira. And when people around him start getting killed, and then he thinks it's because he's harboring this dragon, he's set on a quest to find safety for the dragon, right? And to find the other dragon riders, the alleged dragon riders that still exist. And it's just a very classic hero tale, and I really liked it. I did like it. I don't remember giving it a 5, but I did like it. Next, we have Model Home by River Solomon, which I also gave a 5 stars. This is a haunted house book, but more dealing with the grief and loss and the ghosts that come from grieving and losing a family member versus like there actually being physical ghosts in the house. But maybe there's also physical ghosts in the house. Who's to say? But every book that I've read by River Solomon has this underlying like deep, beautiful, haunting, like poetic prose, and they did it again in this one. This one was no exception. This talks about like deep familial ties and what it means to be a family is what I got from it. And yeah, it deals a lot with grief, deals a lot with past traumas, and so definitely read the trigger warnings before going into that one, but I think it is a very good read. Next, I gave 4.5 stars to Where Sleeping Girls Lie from Farida Abike Amide. I just realized looking at this that it is Where Sleeping Girls Lie number 1. There's gonna be 2? That's crazy. I remember this, I don't know what exactly happened, but something awful was happening in my personal life, and I downloaded that app where it's like the vials that you have to like sort colors in, and I played that nonstop and listened to this audiobook in like one sitting, minus like going to the bathroom and like making food, and I just zonked on this book. It follows a girl who is a new student at this like really pretentious like boarding school type thing. She's really rich. Her roommate suddenly goes missing the first day she's there, and she has to like, nobody seems to care that this roommate is missing, so she takes it upon herself as the new student to like solve her roommate's mysterious disappearance. I think that's all I can say without it being a spoiler. She's also a swimmer. I do remember that. Yeah, it's great. If you like Dark Academia, if you liked Ace of Spades, I genuinely think that you're gonna like this one too. I think that she ends up writing this world, or these like really dark, creepy worlds steeped in racism, and it's great. I mean, it's not great that there's racism. It's great how she explores the themes of racism even within academia, or especially within the worlds of academia, and I think that this is great. I think it was really good. I think it's very on par with Ace of Spades. I read One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. This is about, I give it a 4. This is about a girl who is on a reality dating show, and she's on this dating show and she's the first plus size suitor. I think that's all I need to say. It was a little cheesy, but I liked it. So, then I read this beast of a book. I gave it a 3.5, which sucks because the other 2 I have on my shelf right here, oh, you can't really see them. The other 2 were 5s. So going from both of them being 5s to a 3.5 feels awful. Why was it so long? Why did it end on a cliffhanger? And I mean this so kindly. I don't think Adam, the author, has ever talked to a single person with BPD. Because that was crazy. Anyways, God, I've been filming for so long. So next I read The Last Tale of the Flower by Roshini Chotsky, and I liked this more than I thought I was going to. I don't know why I didn't expect it, but going into it, I did not expect it to be fairies. That was really cool. It was a fae book. It was a book about the fae. That was really cool. There was, so there's this girl named Indigo, and she had a really close friend growing up who she would go over to her friend's house in this like mansion and kind of get whisked away from her like abusive childhood, and she got to have these like elaborate parties. The other girl's name was Azure, and they were just such close friends that they almost became like, you know, when you're a little girl, not a girl now, but hey, I grew up as a little girl sometimes, you know what I mean? You have these like entanglements with these friends where you can't tell if you feel like you're a sister with somebody, if you feel like you want to be that person, or if you're in love with that person. And I know that is only an experience that young girls have. Please validate me in that. And so this happens. She becomes infatuated with this friend, and then they grow apart, and there might be magic. They might have a little fae realm that they go to. All I'm saying is that this is beautiful, this is haunting, and this is great. And I probably should have given it a 5. But it deals with like weird childhood infatuation with friends. It also deals with familial ties, and it deals with your mom. This was the craziest twist of the year. I gave The Only One Left by Riley Sager 5 stars. There's a woman who is aging, who also has like memory problems, I think what it is. This is definitely a very gothic-y feeling book. And so there's a woman who becomes a caretaker to help take care of this family, and there's a full on board of staff helping take care of this house. And the reason that it was so hard for her to get somebody to come take care of the old lady was the old lady is the only suspect in a murder of her family when she was younger, and everybody claims that she doesn't do it, but the town thinks that she's guilty, and she's been ostracized her whole life, so nobody wants to come take care of her. And so she's kind of just dying alone in this rotting house with her like 3 staff. It's great. Oh, also the house is built on a cliff, and everyone like when you first get in the house, everyone goes, you're going to experience the lean, don't worry. And the house is literally like leaning into the cliff. Creepy, great, gothic, spooky. Again, I think she's friends with the cop in this. Why are they always friends with cops? And that happened in 5 Survive too. One of the girl was like the daughter of a cop. Why is there always cops? I promise you, not everybody is friends with the police. Feels like more people are anti-cop than there are people friends of cop. This, I think, is my favorite book of the year. I read Monstrillo by Herrero Simona Cordova. This is like my god tier book. This is so good. So this follows a woman who lost her son, and in her grief, she had heard legends of like, well, so out of her grief, she wanted a piece of her son, and he was born with only 1 lung, right? She wanted a piece of him as he was dying. So she cut out a piece of his lung and kept it, and her grandmother was like, or her mother, an older maternal family member in her life, was like, just don't feed it, you can grow a monster. So she starts feeding it soup broth, and the piece of the lung grows and grows and grows into this little monster. Oh, and then it talks about grief, and it's just so, I can't talk much more about it other than it grows into this little monster. But please, 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 if you read any of the books off this list, let it be Monstrillo. This was a debut too, I'm pretty sure. I'm like 1,000% sure. Yeah, Monstrillo this is a fucking debut. I cannot wait to see what he writes. I cannot wait to see what else he writes in his life. I read 4.5. I read The Dream Thieves, which is the second book in the Maggie Stiefvater Raven cycle. I read this one. It was good. I liked the first one better. This one I had a little bit of a hard time getting through. I did tab this one up a lot more, but I did have a harder time getting through this one, and I don't know why. Don't look at me. I read Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and I gave it 5 stars, and it became my personality. And I watched the movie so many times that I cried. Listen, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear it from you. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. Then I read Blue Lily, Blue, which is the 3rd book in the Raven Cycle series. Great. I liked this one. I gave this a 4.5. This was better, I think. Like, this 4.5 is higher than the 4.5 of the Raven, of the Dream Thieves. And I can't explain that to you, so I won't. It's a vibe thing. And if you get it, you get it. You know what I mean? And I read Beartown by Frederick Bachman. It says over here, I give this a 5. It says Beartown #1, and I forgot that it's a series. This ended so perfectly to me that this is a standalone. Hey, I'm not going to read the rest of it. This is a standalone to me. This follows a small town that depends on its hockey team to kind of keep the town afloat. And there's one day where something awful happens within the world of hockey, and it's showing the small town's reactions to either protecting its people by believing a victim or protecting its people by financially keeping it afloat. And it is, I had no idea what this book was about. So if you need trigger warnings, read the trigger warnings. If you don't, kind of go into it blind, because I didn't know the plot twist of this. But it is a very cozy, small town story meets like true crime podcasty thing. Next, 5 stars. I read The Raven King. I don't have a physical copy of it, but I read The Raven King. And it was the conclusion of the Raven cycle, and I think it was phenomenal. I think it was my favorite of the series. And then I read Opal, give it a 3.5, which is the I think the connecting story between the Raven cycle and Call Down the Hawk, like the Dreamer trilogy. And it was cute. It was fine. It was fun. I liked it. I had a good time. I think that it was short enough to be exactly what I needed it to be. I think if it was any longer, it would have dragged. But the audiobook was like an hour. I really liked it. And I think it connected the two worlds. And it did give us a little bit of like a relationship that I was hoping for. Then I read Looking Glass Down by Catriona Ward. Is it Catriona? Katrina. That's Catriona. Anna. I give it a 4. This book has been on my TBR. I didn't realize there was a sticker. Hello? I didn't even buy this from Barnes & Noble. I bought it secondhand. This follows a boy who spends summers living in his eclectic uncle's, his like eclectic recluse of an uncle's like beach house on this weird island, right? Or this weird gulf. Do I not know how to talk about books when I get into this headspace? Yes. And he meets 2 friends, and they become the best of friends, and they both find out that both the boys are in love with the girl, and they get up to hijinks. And it's kind of like a coming of age goes into a unsettling, creepy thriller. The coming of age aspect is beautiful. The thriller part's beautiful. And then maybe there's a little bit of spooky horror in it that I also think is done really well. It sucks because all 3 of the elements of this are done really well. I just don't know if they were braided together super seamlessly. However, I do think it is still worth the read. And I gave it a 4. Thinking back, maybe a 4.5. Like a high 4, you know? But I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and all of the elements I wish just came together a little bit more seamlessly, but the overall, it kind of felt like I was reading 3 different stories, and they were gonna come together really good at the end, and they kind of just like missed a little bit. But I do think that the experience of reading the first individual 3 chunks of it is worth the little miss at the end. I'm good at talking about books. I see that I gave it a 4. Why did I give this one a 4? Maybe I should have given it higher. But I read Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. So it's forced proximity, second chance romance, grumpy sunshine, enemies to lovers. I've never used those words before, so if I used any of those wrong, I'm sorry. But that's what it feels like to me. And listen, so it's about a girl who's a wedding planner, and her ex is a florist, and they end up getting hired at the same wedding together, and people don't know that they're exes, and so they keep being like, oh my god, you guys have chemistry, you guys should you know, and they're like, no, I'm not that unprofessional, no, but it turns out they just hate each other because they're exes, you know. Their chemistry is so good. And also, listen, respectfully, I watch a man make a woman just from, and he enjoys it and gets from it, and then does it again, and then again from just, I'm in love. I'm in love. What do you mean? And I don't encourage the straights very often, and it was for me, you know? Next, I read Halloween, which is a graphic novel by Moss Lawton. and it's signed, which is really cool. I got this at a book fair. And the artwork in this is just incredible. It follows these 3 friends. This is a witch from Earth, and these 2 are from Halloween Town, right? Is that what they're called? The Hollowlands, sorry. So Gwen is a witch from Earth, and then these are the 2 friends from the Hollowlands. One's a vampire, one's a werewolf, and she is trying to find a way to make both of them be able to come into Earth and hang out with her to help her with her witch powers, not just on Halloween. And then there's these 2 people. He is convinced that they're spooky supernatural people, and everyone around him's like, no, there's no such thing as that. And he's like, everyone's just gaslighting him basically, because he is right, there are witches and stuff. But it was just a really cute, really fun read. And again, the art is so good. The art is so phenomenal. And so I think it's just fun. If you want like a spooky fun time, this is great. This is a great read. You should definitely pick it up. The graphic novel of the Raven Cycle, or of the first Raven Boy's book, beautiful, perfect. I will say, if you haven't read the Raven Boys, don't read this first. Read this second. This feels like a continuation, like fun, like, you know, like when you watch a movie and then it gets you get like an extended cut or like bonus features released after, but you already love the movie, so the bonus features mean so much more. That's what this is. That's what that is, and that's that on that. Next, I read Insurgent. This was the second book. Yes, I gave this one a 4. It was fine. It was okay. There was a lot more character introduction in that one. It was only fine. It was only fine. So then next, I listened to Graveyard Shift by ML Rio, which I had a great time with. It was my first introduction into ML Rio, so I don't know if, because so I gave it a 3.5, which I think is a fair rating for a book. I wish it was a little bit longer. I know that people said that if you had read other stuff by them, that this was a little bit of a letdown, so I think maybe I had a better experience because it was my first time reading from them, and also because I love Sporer. I love Sporer. So I think I'm a slut for that. And I love a forced proximity type story, like it takes place in a graveyard and that's it. And it takes place in a couple of hours. Like, it's not like a spread out story. It's like an isolated chunk. And I thought it was successful. I really liked it. Then I read A New Fear Volume 1 by R.L. Stine. It's the first book in a spin-off of Fear Street. I thought it was the very first one, but it's not. It's called A New Fear, which is a new series. It was okay. I don't want to get into the lore of Fear Street, but this was like a prequel to Fear Street. Like, this was explaining the Fear family at first. Like, this is the wife of the son of the Fear family before they all died. That's where this falls in the Fear Street lore. It was fine. You can tell it was old. You can tell it was written in the past. It's fine. Then I found this at a used bookstore. I got Binti by Nydia Okorafor. This was so good. This was a 5. It's so short, but it was a 5. So this follows a girl named Binti. She's on a spaceship traveling to go to a new school, and she's experiencing racism and on the ship by people who don't understand her kind. And while they're on the ship gets attacked, and she's the only survivor of the attack. And that's kind of where the story takes place. And she's so good at math, and like when she gets stressed, she just sits there and runs equations in her head, and I'm like, go off. This is great, and it's the first in a series, and it is a series I will continue. Another 5-star. Are we surprised? Are we surprised it's another 5-star? No, because it was by Paul Tremblay. This book, Survivor Song by Paul Tremblay, was so good. It's zombie, but what if zombie were rabies? What if zombie were rabies, and what if pregnant person got bit by said rabies and wanted to give birth before die? But Dr. Friend had to try to get her to hospital because Dr. Friend was like, no, you don't have rabies, but Dr. Friend fully fucking knew that she had rabies. And what if it was also a little coming of age because there's 2 children that help them get to hospital? What if it was just all of the things that I needed in a book, and what if it was a 5-star? That's all I'm gonna say. I fully forgot to film that I read Big Bad by Chandler Baker. What did I give it? I gave it a 3.75. Why did I not talk about this one? I fully missed this book. It was fine. It's about a family who might be getting stalked by these big wolves. And they run like an Airbnb type thing, and a weird guy shows up at their door asking to stay in the room that he booked. And the dad's like, well, we don't have any bookings. And he goes, well, look, I fully booked the room. And the dad goes, well, too bad, get out. And then he hides his family away, and they hear weird noises in the forest. And it was short. It's part of this like bigger bigger series that Amazon has. It was okay. It was fine. It was fine. It was just fine. I'll be honest, it was just a little bit fine. This one was for me. No one's gonna care about this one. I gave it a 5 stars though, because I feel weird ranking memoirs low. But I did. I gave it a 5 stars. I read Christine Brown Woolley's book called Sister Wife. If you don't know who the Sisters' Wives are, I can't be the one to sell you on them now. But they're an ex-polygamous family in the Mormon religion, and this is a memoir of one of the ex-wives. Then I listened to You'll Never Know, Dear by Haley Ephron. Haley Ephron? Hallie or Haley Ephron? One of those. Hey, one of those is right. But I read this. It is about the granddaughter of a doll maker whose aunt went missing when she was a kid, and suddenly a mysterious doll shows up at the aunt's house, or at the grandma's house. And the grandma used to make portrait dolls, and she's like, that's my daughter's doll. This person knows how my daughter went missing. And then once the doll gets acquired, the next day the house has a mysterious fire where all the dolls are burned. And so it's the family trying to figure out, was that her doll? Who burnt the house down? And it's really good. I read it because I needed never for a book for Books and Lala's readathon, so I would have never read this book if I didn't need that word. And I give it a 4.25, which I think is a pretty solid rating, and it was better than I thought it was going to be. I listened to the audiobook, and honestly, pretty good. I think I could recommend that to most people, and it be a solid book. And then I read a 5-star, a banger, and I read The 7-Year Slip. Now, did this book almost not get a 5? Did this book almost not get finished? Yes. Would you like to know why? I have OCD, and this book deals with the death of this main character's aunt. And while I was reading the book, I got a call that my aunt was dying, so I was convinced that I killed my aunt. But I didn't kill my aunt. That's not how that's not how life works. I didn't kill my aunt. My aunt did die. But it's fine. I'm grieving. It's okay. Anyways, this book was crazy good. Okay? This book it's romance. I read more romance this year than I've ever read. So there was this girl who's living in her dead aunt's apartment because she inherited the apartment from her aunt. And one day she's there and she goes to work, and then she comes back and stuff that she had taken out of her aunt's is back in the apartment, and there's just a mysterious man staying with her saying that the other day he talked to her aunt saying that he could stay there. And she realizes that the apartment is now in the past, and it is in the past 7 years. Crazy. And it has to do with food. If you like reading about food, the food imagery in here is really good. The actual connection between characters are really good. I was giggling during some of this. I was like, oh, they're so cute. 3 stars. I finished Divergent. I don't want to talk about it. But you want to talk about a good end. 4 stars. This was the last book in the Unwind series. But Neil Shusterman does this a lot with his books, where it is just a short story collection of bits from... Oh, did I talk about that? Oh no, I read that last year. But Neil Shusterman does this thing with all of his books where, or like his bigger series, where he'll take like unpublished short stories from the world and publish it into an anthology, like he did it with Gleanings, with his like Scythe series. So yeah, this was just a collection of like untold stories of the world of Unwind, and it was such a perfect way to end the year because I ended on a fun anthology, ending the book series that I started at the beginning of the year. Boom! I did it! I finished this video! I finished the year, I read 50 books, and I finished this video. Become hell or high water, I finished this video. You guys don't even know how long I've been sitting here. Almost 2 hours sitting here filming this video for you. I love you guys. It's been so fun. This year has been fun. I'm glad to be back making videos. I'll see you guys later. Let me know in the comments what was your favorite book that you read and what was your least favorite book that you read, because I like to stir the pot a little bit. And also let me know if any of these books that I talked about you're gonna read too. Let me know. I'd love to know. And especially if you are an overweight, sexually broken loser as well, then I love you the most. Bye.